Okay, well, this should be good to go, so I guess we're gonna go. Yeah, the plan for today is we're gonna start with the 390X2. I only just got the card, like, running earlier today, so... Yeah, it doesn't seem to like finishing benchmarks very much. But we're gonna see if it behaves. We're gonna be running... Actually, wait, did I install 3D Mark 11? I haven't installed 11. Is the 5950X even good at 11? Because I'm not good at 11. So I'm gonna go check that, because I might not bother with 3D 11. Because for whatever reason, I suck at it. Okay, 3D Mark 11. Okay, so the 5950X is good at it, but I'm not, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. And I'm not running dual rank today just because, like, it doesn't, like, for 3D, it just doesn't make much of a difference. So yeah, I guess this gives me some time to just, like, finish off setting up the OS, because, yeah, I only have Firestrike and Vantage right now installed. But yeah, the plan is do Vantage, do Firestrike, max out the card as much as possible. And then we'll probably add a 390X into the system, and we can run 3-way. And then I might also add a 290X in there. Not at the same time, we'll switch the 390X for a 290X, and then we can run, like, 3-way 290Xs. So yeah, we're going to be doing, like, some 3-way today, basically. And then once that's done, well, that'll be the end of the stream, because I assume this is going to take a while. Even though the scores that I have to beat for these setups are, like, honestly kind of going to be a walk in the park, or at least they should be. Like, right, we all know how this goes. I say, yeah, it's going to be nice, easy, whatever, and then it's like 5 hours later, well, that wasn't easy at all, was it? But yeah, this really shouldn't be too difficult, because the 5950X should just carry the system super ridiculously hard. What? No, not upgrade now. I'm just gonna advance. No, stop trying to, there we go. Okay, that's where the key goes. Yeah, I'm just activating my 3D Mark 11. The main problem I've always had in 3D Mark 11 is that my CPU score sucks for some reason, so we'll see if that finally... It's not solved. I still don't know why it happens, so it's probably still gonna run like trash. But at least with the 5950X, and considering the scores for the 390, I don't think, like, the competition isn't too tough, so I'm not too concerned about my efficiency being, well, non-existent for 3D Mark 11, so... Should go well. How is the heat on the 5950X? It's like a 3950X. Yeah. Like, it's really not that different from a 3950X, which is why I haven't done much with it, because everybody's like, oh, how's the 5950X? It's like a 3950, but faster. Didn't really change much of anything. So, yeah, I guess we'll start with Firestrike, because that's the easy one. Gonna just run a baseline score. And I am gonna, like, the thing is, this card is a bit dodgy about working, so we do need tricks right off the bat. For whatever reason, it just defaults to plus 50 millivolts, which is fun. Apparently the fans die on these if you max them out, so we're not going to be maxing out the fan speed as much as I normally would do that. I'm going to max out the power limit, because the last time I had this thing functioning, these are the settings I was running, so yeah, this is literally just stock. Also for Firestrike, like, look, if you're going to bench on Hardware Bot and you're benching Firestrike, you disable your tessellation. Because that's in the rules. You can disable tessellation. Therefore, I am going to disable tessellation. Crossfire is on. So, yeah, let's start off with Firestrike. Right now, I mostly just want to see the physics score, because the CPU is at completely stock. It should be pretty easy to get the CPU to spit out 45,000. Even with just the 2 memory sticks. So that's kind of the goal. I wouldn't run 1.4 volts on a modern Ryzen chip. Well, I guess it depends what your definition of 1.4 volts is. Like, 1.4 volts set and then with a lot of E-droop is maybe okay. Why not dual rank memory? Because I can't be bothered. It doesn't make enough of a difference for the benchmarks we're running today. Like, if I feel like I need more CPU score, I'm gonna stick 2 more memory sticks in there. But the way I expect things to go, we will not need 2 more memory sticks. Aren't you using PBO 2.0? Right now it's stock. And we're not gonna be using PBO because PBO, like, the funny thing about PBO is for any given workload, you can tune the CPU better by hand. Static. PBO is only good if you want to have good performance in multiple workloads at the same time. If you're just running one thing, and you know the workload, PBO is useless. Like, I can run 3D Mark V, like this physics test, I think I can run it at almost 4.7 gigahertz. PBO does not go to 4.7 gigahertz on all cores. 5950X versus 3950X, worth the upgrade? Not really. No difference. No, it's not no difference. It's just ever so slightly higher. Ever so slightly. Which is like, if I was struggling for points, then sure, I would go to dual rank. But we're not going to be struggling for points. Like, at all. Like, go look at the top score for this card on HWBot. It's, like, we're gonna beat it at stock. Actually, I've already beaten it at stock, with tessellation turned on. Like, that's the thing, is this card is so freaking rare. There's, like, 1 score on hardware bot with it, which I'm actually kind of annoyed about, because it's like, come on. Like, you know, like, on one hand, I do like being first. On the other hand, it would be nice to have at least, a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, the only other person who's ever run one of these ran it with an 8700K. So he was getting 18,292 points, and I'm over here getting 22,529 points. Also, I was a little bit worried that the driver version that I'm using would score worse than his, but he was getting 24,000, and I'm getting 25,000 GPU score, so evidently I do know what I'm doing with the, like, I'm on an ancient AMD driver version. This is on 1610, because the 19, well, basically, if you're going to run triple GPU, the modern drivers just kind of suck. Everything, like, I don't know when it happened, but definitely, like, 19 and newer, your score just sucks. If you run 4-way GPUs, it scores like 3-way. If you run 3-way, it scores like 2-way on an old driver. So, basically, if you're going to run really big multi-GPU setups, you want your really old drivers. And then for 2-way, I think, like, for 2-way, the newest drivers should actually be just fine. But, this works, this also works. Oh, and he didn't have a validation link. So I don't even know if he was or wasn't running tessellation. I don't think he was running tessellation. Like, I'd hope he wasn't running tessellation. Because that just makes it awkward for me to compare if the driver is performing properly. But, yeah, anyway, so where are we starting with the CPU score? So right now we're at 36,000, which is just kind of pathetic. So now, I'm going to restart and do some overclocking on the CPU. 3600 CL14 is better than 3733 CL16. Honestly, I think the RAM just ran at JDEC. Yeah, the RAM was literally running JDEC just now, so... Yeah, also 3600... Honestly, the CL16 3733 should perform a little bit better most of the time. Alright, F7 on MSI BIOSes. If you're wondering why we're running the Godlike, it's because I do need the PCIe slot layout that it comes with. This is not my best... Like, if I had my way, I would have a B550 motherboard with, like, a X79 motherboard style PCIe slot layout. Unfortunately, nobody wants to make that, so I can't have that. That would be, like, my perfect AM4 motherboard. B550, PLX chip, way too many PCIe switches. Like, the thing would be XLATX just in order to get all the PCIe switches on there. And the board would basically support 4-way GPUs at full X8 3.0. It would support 2-way at 4.0 X8. There's a way to do that. It's like, it would be ridiculously expensive, but it is actually physically possible to build a motherboard with both of those speed options. It would run 16x 4.0 for single GPU. It would also support 3.0 X8, 16x 8x, 8x for 3-way, and like it would also support 3-way triple slot GPUs. Like, there is a really whack PCIe slot layout that does all of those things that I just described. Unfortunately, it would also make, like, if there was a motherboard that implemented it, it would be like several $100s in just PCIe hardware, and nobody wants to do that on a B550 board, unfortunately. Also, I want the B550 chipset because X570 is bad for BCLK overclocking. But, yeah, all the, like, you couldn't sell a motherboard like that to the normies, so I can't have a motherboard like that. Which makes me pretty sad. Let's see. Mode 4. Actually, I think on this board I've said, like, even the droopier ones are fine. Oh yeah, this is on the smart power stages, so we can max that out. We don't need to worry about that. Mode 4, mode 3 on that. DRAM phase control disabled. Go. Also, I'm on a newer AG, like this BIOS that I'm on is on the new AGSA 120, well, 1200 AGSA. So we can actually run high FCLK on this, like really high FCLK. So that's actually what we're going to do. Go straight to 4133 with... 3D Mark should love this. It's not stable, but 3D Mark shouldn't care, because 3D Mark isn't a, like, it's not a stress test. So we're going to go with that. Actually, we can run 24 on that. So then we can run 40, 300, actually we can go lower than that, 240, 10, 4, 8, 4, 4, 10, 16, 16, 1, and then SCL 4, 4, and on die term. Actually, we don't need to touch the rest of those. Unfortunately, like the thing I'm annoyed at with this board is I can't actually run high frequency on it. Like, I've never gotten this board to boot 4800 megahertz. Yeah, I'm not particularly thrilled about that. Whereas, like, my B550 boards will do 4800 just fine with this CPU. This won't. Honestly, this is a pain to get to 4600. So, yeah. Luckily, 3D Mark doesn't care that much about memory performance. So, it's not going to be a huge issue. Why do they highlight it red? Oh, whatever. So that should run. Yeah, it's on the new 1.2 AGSA. Yeah. So that's how you get 2 gigahertz Infinity Fabric. You just use a proper BIOS. And it's not even proper BIOS, because Like, my suspicion is that the way AMD got 2000 FCLK to work is they disabled some kind of error checking. Because I have never managed to get anything above 1900 even remotely stable. Like, it always just ends up spewing a bajillion errors. So, yeah, that's fun. So I just wanted to, yeah, ULPS is disabled. Yours, I honestly, so, just, like, as the hardware itself, the Aorus Pro V2 is certainly... Actually, no. Best B550... Wait, specifically from Gigabyte for best B550 board? Because for overclocking, I would take the Unify X. The CPUs that do 2100 IF error-free. Really? Like, error-free even in AVX workloads? Oh, you guys can't see the FPS. Well, that was really... There we go. We're just going to put it over here. Oh, but then you can't see the postcode. Wait. Oh, wait. No, I have an idea. We can move this, and then we can move... Well, that's fine. That works. Do you prefer this or Asus Dark Hero? If I had a Dark Hero, I could maybe tell you. And I can't wait to see what it does on physics. But for, like, straight up overclocking, I finally got around to testing out the crazy crucial kit on the B550 Master. And so now I've finally confirmed that, yeah, the Unify is actually just kind of better once you hit the really, really high memory frequencies. And by Unify, I mean the B550 Unify with Unify X with the 2 DIMM slots. So yeah, if we could have that with, like, more PCIe slots, that would have been great. See that FPS right there? It's going over 150. That's what I like to see. We need to come up with more memorable song titles. I remember the there's a system to the song titles, actually. So they're actually really easy for me to remember, because it's like, oh yeah, this one's simplistic and kind of chill, then it's going to be a pro something. Some say that X570 Master don't have doublers on phases and has really good memory controller. Motherboards don't have memory controllers. They have memory traces. And the X570 Master's new version should have really, really strong memory over... Like, the version 1.1 and version 1.2 should be really, really good at memory overclocking. Also, the board never had doublers. Like, neither of the Masters ever had doublers. Both of those boards always use the Infineon XDPE132G5C. So, that's only 42K. That's not as high as I was hoping for. Admittedly, yeah, that's really not as high as I was hoping for. Maybe I will go all the way to quad rank. But anyway, so at this point, I've beaten the previous top score by like 4,000 points. So, yep, that's great. And I haven't even started overclocking yet. So I guess it's time we start overclocking. So, fun fact, this is like a modified version of Trix that goes to, like, bad for your GPUs at longevity voltages. So, yep, I've got the best tools. I actually have a video on how to do that to Trix. How to get it to do that. And like that modification works on like all the different Trix versions, and the reason why I have a bajillion different versions is there's some weird compatibility with some GPUs, so yeah, I keep just and each of the like the thing is the software is also really small, so it's like having all of them, it doesn't really take up any space. Well, let's try 1050 on the core. Non-X Unify is still good. Something else if I want. I don't know about the non-X Unify. Like, I've not used the non-X B550 Unify. I think for 4 DIMMs, a Gigabyte might be stronger. Because, like, none of my 4-DIMM MSI motherboards have ever gotten me as high as the Master did. Like, I was really surprised when the Master could go all the way to, like, depending on what, yeah, like, with B-Die, the Master will go up to, like, 4900 quite easily if the CPU can. Whereas none of my MSI boards have done that. Admittedly, I haven't had the B550 Unify 4-dimmer. But it doesn't look like they did much with that one. So I don't think it's necessarily going to be much different. Finally a serious kit. What, the memory kit? I've had this memory kit for ages. Have you been living under a rock? There's like 3 videos with this kit on my channel. BZ is such a Sapphire shill that he uses their software for other cards. Nah, Sapphire Trix is literally the greatest AMD GPU overclocking utility ever. Because the only thing it does is it changes VCore and clocks, and it doesn't offer any other functionality, and that's exactly the way I like it. You know how you make better software? By having less features. Because the more features something has, the more shit doesn't work. The more opportunities there are for something to break. So I like my utilities very just bare bones. I want voltage control, and I want clock control, and maybe the ability to change the fan speed. Not even a fan curve, just like fixed fan speed. If it does that, it does everything I need it to do. Oh, I guess I should have called this Granada. Isn't it that what they called the refresh cards, Granada? I can't remember right now. No, I just can't sit still. It's a bad, like, I literally just, sitting still is not really a thing I do very well. And I'm leaning on both desks at the same time, so yeah, I'm shaking the second desk. Whoa, that really pushed the score up a lot. Well, yeah, that's the benefits of having just ludicrous. Well, actually, the combined is way up as well, so that's neat. Yeah, like combined is just shot up. Graphics didn't even change that much. It's just combined went up, like went through the roof. So that's cool. 1100. 1100's kind of high for stock voltage on a, well, it's a 3090, so those generally had better silicon, so we'll see. We'll see. Remember when AMD's driver control utility didn't just randomly crash like it does now? Right now peak clocks? I don't do peak clocks. It's at 4.6 static right now. Yeah, Granada. Okay. It's all Hawaii to me. Okay, so it's already starting to artifact. That's kind of disappointing. And it crashed. So, bad news about AMD GPUs. I'm not sure if they ever fix this, but at least on the old driver versions, if it crashes, you gotta restart the system because the score is not like it might recover, but it'll score like a garbage. So at this point, we're just gonna shut down, power on again. I'm actually gonna overclock the CPU even more because evidently it was passing just fine. So we're gonna bump it up to 4.7. Also, I'm kind of annoyed that the physics score wasn't higher. Kind of wondering if we're hitting the Infinity Fabric performance loss point. Because the thing is, if you clock the Infinity... Like, I can go all the way up to 4266 and it'll boot and everything, but it scores like trash. So... Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering about is, like, if I'm already at that point for this workload. Because it actually depends on the workload you're running as to when exactly that effect kicks in. It should be able to do this. Yeah, at 1.65, these should definitely do that. Oh, wait, nope, 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 nope. TRCD is too low. Yeah, but this should work. And then we can run this. Actually, we can probably run this. And... Okay, and we're back. This is good. I should make a shortcut for... Well, no, I won't. Because the thing is, I plan to run like a whole bunch of different... Well, actually, I think 641 works fine for everything that's Hawaii-ish based. So that might actually be fine. 1100. Let's bump it up a little bit more. There. Hopefully the fans don't die. Also, I'm running an old Windows version because for some reason the like more recent Windows version just kept like imploding on me. And instead of figuring out why it happens, I was just like, screw it, we're going back to 1909. Because 1909 is like the last Windows version I used for serious 3D benchmarking. And so it's like, yeah, I know this at least. I know at least this Windows version works properly. So we're going to go texture filtering performance, which I don't even think that does anything for DirectX 11 workloads, but we'll see. Well, we won't see because I've clocked the GPU up, but... Yeah, let's run Firestrike. Kind of wondering what I should aim for in terms of scores with this card. I guess 25k would be pretty cool. And very doable. Okay, there goes the artifacting. I really don't expect the memory on this thing to overclock very much because this is one of those dual-core power color cards where the memory VRM is a mile away from all of the memory... Well, from like... basically, you have the memory VRM on one end of the card, and then all the memory chips are just scattered across the whole length of the card, and it's just like, yeah, so... You know, the memory chips on the other side of the card, yeah, we don't worry about powering those anymore, right? Like, those don't actually need to run at the same voltage as the ones right next to the VRM, right? Like... What is fine? Like the GDDR6, GDDR5 is rated to run at like 1.4. I don't know how bad the voltage drop is, but I'd assume it's pretty bad. So I will see. Like I think 390s shipped with like 1500 memory stock, so they're underclocking the memory on this, and I would assume it's just because their memory VRM is garbage. And it's not even like the VRM itself is garbage, it's just in the wrong bloody place. It's on the opposite end of the card from like from 3 of the memory chips. Which, even if it was just one memory chip, like, if there's one memory chip on the entire card that can't run the same speed as all the other ones, then the whole card can't run a certain memory speed. So, yeah, I'm really not a fan. Like, and that's the thing that Power Color does on, like, all of their dual GPU cards. There's one memory VRM, and it's in, like, the bottom left or it's in the bottom right corner or top right corner. It's never in a reasonable location. Like, if you're going to put the memory, if you're going to have one memory VRM for all of the memory chips on the card, put it in the middle of the card. Don't put it on the edge, on, like, one side. Put it right in the middle of the card so that it's relatively close to all of the memory chips, instead of having, like, half the VRAM on the card a mile away. But yeah, we'll see how that works out, because I'm pretty sure that's one of the biggest problems with this card, is just like how its memory power delivery is handled. All the memory chips are on the front, and it doesn't really have to squeeze them because the PCB is just gigantic. Okay. Oh, whoa. 25k is going to be super easy. Man. I am just demolishing the old record for this one, but that's mostly because there was like one person who ran this. I'm still kind of annoyed about that. More people need to get these cards. This is one of the things that annoys me with like niche limited edition cards that I'm a huge sucker for, because like I love hardware, I love rare hardware, I love collecting hardware. And then it's like, and then you go benchmark it and it's just like, I have nobody to compare my scores against because there was like literally nobody has the damn thing. So, anyway, I want to get rid of the artifacting, mostly because it just annoys me. I'd like it to be passing cleanly, so we're going to try 1400 now. But yeah, this thing is just beast on the scores right now, which most of that is the 5950X. That's the main reason why I decided to run this. It's just kind of like, yeah, the 5950X is going to carry any GPU I stick into this motherboard to greatness, assuming that the GPU is relatively old. The thing is, if you look at the reference AMD cards from this era, they have the memory power delivery done properly. It's just Power Color being cheap. Like, I would just call it being cheap on Power Color's card. Like, on Power Color's part. Because it's like, there is no reason for them to put the memory, like, to do what they did with the memory VRM on this card. Other than, like, well, it's more convenient than actually designing it properly. You know, it's not like it's a limited edition, ultra high, like, flagship GPU for our company. Who cares about the memory power delivery? It's probably, like, the memory VRM is probably outputting only, like, you know, 40 amps, and 20 of those amps need to go all the way across the entire PCB. It's fine. Completely fine. To be fair, 20 amps isn't really that much, but... like, they didn't even put any extra capacitors on, like, the far side of the card, so, like, I'm really, like, on one hand, I'm conflicted, because it's like, this is like a collector's edition, like, this is basically a very collectible card as far as I'm concerned, but on the other hand, it's like, do you know what I prefer to having a card that's rare? A card with better power delivery, so I'm super tempted to, like, see if there would be any gain from whacking a bunch of extra memory filtering capacitors onto the far side of the card relative to where the memory VRM is. Because, yeah, if the memory chips on one end of the card suddenly need a bunch of power, it's like, well, there's no capacitance here, because nobody ever considered that possibility. Oh man, we got lucky. I think this physics score is going to be really good, I think. Because it was hitting like 160 FPS right at the start. And this is just a weird inconsistency with like Windows 10 and actually also AMD GPUs apparently make it worse. It's just like the physics score goes up and down wildly between runs. Quad-like. Well, the board has 4 PCI, like it tries very hard to look like it supports quad SLI. It does technically support quad crossfire, but it does not support quad SLI. Well, actually, no, it does do quad SLI, but it doesn't do quad SLI with 4 cards. It does quad SLI with 2 cards with 2 cores each. So you can put 4 cores on it, but you can't put 4 cards on it. So it's like, quad-like. It's almost like it can do 4-way. Thanks. Bozeroma? I'm not gonna try to pronounce that. And thanks for the 1,000 whatever. V450 Maoris Elite works with 5800X stock, just PBO. I have no idea. Is the 390X too OC'd? Yeah, right now it's a little bit OC'd. Right? A little bit. I wanted to get 25k, so... screw it, let's just jump straight to 1500. Which I think is a pretty bad idea, but we'll see how bad that actually is. V450 should eventually work with 5000 series. And I paid for a Buildzoid RAM overclocking episode. Dude, there's been so much RAM overclocking on my channel that, like, why would you want to pay for more of it? Like, I've been wondering if people are getting sick and tired of the memory overclocking videos, and you're here like, yeah, can I buy more of those? I wish I get a notification when BZ is live. Join the Discord, and then you get at everyone every time there's a live stream. More OEM RAM overclocking. I've actually found some OEM DJR. I'm kind of considering it. Kinda. Because it's kind of expensive, and I am honestly well... Like, the thing is, I want some variety on the channel, and it's like... And I have enough RAM as is, and more RAM coming in all the time. Yeah, who'd have thought being, like, the only YouTube channel that actually knows what they're doing with a memory kit gets you free memory kits. It's just like... the thing that annoys me is I keep getting sent, like... Like, right now, I have a... Like, well, mostly I just get sent, like, ridiculous high-speed bins, which, from a practical user perspective, are completely bloody pointless. Like, they don't even perform that well at XMP, because DDR4 5000 just necessitates terrible subtimings. So it's like, yeah, so that's great and all, but, could you, like, send me some RAM that's actually worth working with? Can you do a video with budget RAM on the A520 board? Didn't I do something with the A520 board? I ran the G-Skill kit on the A520 board. Admittedly, that's a 3200 CL14, so not exactly super budget, but... Like, the thing is, that board really doesn't clock RAM that... Like, it clocks RAM the same as all of my other boards, minus 200 megahertz. Or at least, like, as all my good boards, minus 200 megahertz. Is the better way to put that. Yay, 25k, so that was easy. Oh man, that combined is just great. I wonder if we can break 30k graphics. That's gonna need way more core clock. A question nobody has ever asked you. Which motherboard manufacturer BIOS has the largest text? My eyeballs suck and I would like to be able to configure timings. I have no idea. Max fan... No, we can't max the fan speed. I've been told by other people who had these cards that the fans apparently just up and die if you max out the fan speed. So we are not maxing out the fan speed. Like, I wouldn't mind replacing the fans on it, but I want, like, the thing is I need the clearance for when we stick the third GPU, like, another GPU in there. Oh, and we might also run a 290X today, because I want to run 290X three-way. Which, man, that's going to be awesome. That's gonna be worth so many points. Have you run 4x8 B-die on your 2700X? Yes! Yes, I have. I'm pretty sure I did that ages ago. 1600 AF doesn't seem to be able to do 4x8 3200 no matter what I try. Yeah, you, like, depending on what motherboard you have, you probably just got unlucky with the memory controller on that. How about a memory overclocking video for dummies where you go over everything? The thing is, like, the memory overclocking videos where I just take a random memory kit that I know nothing about basically tell you everything there is to memory overclocking. It's just like I don't have some magic formula that I consult every time I want to change a memory timing. I literally just go like, ooh, I wonder if this will go down by 10. Apparently it won't because it doesn't post anymore. So I guess we'll have to pull it back up by, like, let's see if it goes down by 5 then. Right, raise it up by 5 again, and it's like, well, still doesn't work. So, I think it crashed. Yeah, that crashed. Maybe an update to the DDR4 buying guide. Yeah, that might be worth doing. The issue is, like, 2x16 right now is a total mess. Like, I don't know which kits are single rank and which are dual rank. Well, the CPU is still pretty happy, so we're going to raise the frequency again. Rip the 30k dream. No, the dream is not over until, like, I run out of voltage rate. Well, no. Until the card is overheated. Like, well, actually... So, the nice thing about air-cooled Hawaii cards is that if you keep raising the voltage into the, like, keep raising the voltage, they do eventually just stop scaling. So, they're pretty hard to, like, break because of that. Because unlike some architectures, they don't just scale indefinitely and then up and die randomly. So, that's the nice thing is, like, we can, like, there's still voltage headroom. So, I'm not sure if that was the memory or the core crashing. Because GT2 is generally memory. Right? Like, that's not a... Oh, no. Trix remembers the settings. We can't open it anymore. Actually, no, I should be able to overwrite that with a different copy of Trix, maybe. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, well, let's not open 3D Mark this time. It's probably a good idea to not open 3D Mark first. Because what I think is happening is it goes to 3D clocks and it just up and dies. Oh, no. Okay, I think... Cool. Okay, so that looks like it sorted itself out. Sometimes AMD GPUs will remember the last settings you punched in, and if those are unstable, well, you're boned. So yeah, have fun with that. Actually, speaking of remembering settings, do I have that enabled? No, I don't. So yeah, like, that's the thing, is like, sometimes the driver does it. And it's super annoying when the driver does it. Anyway, 3D Mark. I really hope the 3D Mark UI didn't break. It likes to do that sometimes. Though I'm not sure if the new version does that. And the GPU crashed again. Did I break 3D Mark? Oh, wait, no. No. So, fun fact about system info, it runs a bunch of AVX instructions. So I think it's the CPU overclock. Yeah, so if you can't open 3D Mark, it's... And you if you overclock your CPU and you're no longer able to open 3D Mark, it's because your CPU's clocked too high. There's a very real problem on, like, Intel CPUs especially, because, like, AMD CPUs handle the AVX, non-AVX workload thing a little bit better. But on, like, X299, the hardest part of running a 3D Mark is the system info run, Like, when system info is doing its, like, system scan, that is way harder than any other part of any 3D Mark benchmark you're ever gonna run. Is, like, getting through system info, because it runs a lot of AVX while running that. Which is, like... And, well, I think Time Spy might be worse. Time Spy Extreme and Time Spy might be worse. But if you're running just, like, the Fire Strikes and your Skydivers and those benchmarks, like, system info is way worse than the benchmarks. Okay, so this time 3D Mark will just open, right? Come on. There we go. Yeah, so I was right. It was just the CPU being unstable. The funny thing is, if... Like, I could probably get away with 4.75 for the physics test. Maybe even 4.8, but we won't be able to open 3D Mark anymore. So, yeah, can't do that. I'm gonna go 1525 with max power limit and 1150 core. It'll be relatively runnable. What, on the music? Yeah, I call them all Hawaii. Even though technically AMD renamed them to Granada, which is just like, why? Let's call it Hawaii 2. Yeah, system info is really hard when it runs. So, like, yeah, it's also worse than Cinebench. Like, it's especially bad on X299. I think it might even load up AVX 512 on X299. I'm not entirely sure, but it is super ridiculously hard. So, yeah. Yeah, plus 78 millivolts is fine. Plus 100 millivolts is fine. Like, I'll be worried once we're at, like, plus 200. Because we're just benching here. And the VRM on this is actually quite good. Especially compared to, say, the reference 295X2. This is a much better VRM. Or at least, is it? Yeah, it is. Because I think the original 295X2 is a 4-phase V-core. Whereas this is a 5-phase V-core with 60 amp smart power stages. So this is a better VRM. And it has some really nice heat sinks on it. So yeah, the main thing is, like, can we get through the benchmark? Unfortunately, I can't crank the fan speed like you could on some other cards. Man, Hawaii was the generation of GPUs where I got really into benchmarking. I remember running so much Unigen Heaven on my Rampage 5 Extreme with my 290X and 290. Very fun. Very fun. And that was just on, like, air cooling. Oh, and then I figured out how to... No, well, it wasn't really... There's not much figuring out to do to it. But eventually I zip-tied a water cooler to my 290X. It wasn't really that great. But I was able to run, like... So on the stock... Like, it was a Windforce 290X. On the stock air cooler, I was able to run, like, 1180 core with, I think, 1550 memory, something like that. Maybe? It might have been 1600 something. Anyway, so I ran that. And then eventually, you know, I zip-tied the water cooler to it, and then the card scaled, like, all the way to 1240. Like, same voltage settings, but because it was now on a... And it wasn't even a big water cooler. It was just one of those super cheap Corsair... No, not Corsair. Cooler Master. Yeah, at the time, Cooler Master released, like, a new lineup of super cheap 120mm AIOs. And so I zip-tied one of those to my 290X. And it went from running at, like, 85 degrees to running at, like, 60, at least in benchmark runs. And that drop in temperature made it possible to run, like, 60 megahertz more core clock, and I was so excited about it. Or was it 60? I think it was more like 40 or something. Anyway, it was, like, It was a while ago, so I don't remember the specifics much. But yeah, I eventually, like, I definitely maxed the card out at 1240. I just can't remember if it was maxed out at 1200 on air or 1180 on air. It was something like that. It was close to 1200. It wasn't really that great. Also, it was close to 1200 at, like, plus 200 millivolts. Like, it really wasn't that great. Oh, and I also had a 290 that was, like, even worse. Also a Wind Force card. Anyway, so that's almost 30,000. So let's do the 30,000. I really wish I could give it more fan speed, but I'm actually, like, I don't want to kill the fans. Not yet. Or more like, I don't, well, yeah, no, I just don't want to kill the fans. I do want to, I'll probably replace them with bigger, better fans. I'm pretty sure I could zip, like, the heatsink on this looks like it would very, like, cleanly fit full-blown 120mm fans. So maybe, like, 3,000, yeah, I could totally whack, like, 2 high RPM 120mm to it. That would be kind of fun. Anyway. Let's run Fire Strike again. Oh, and then we've got a bunch of it. Like, the thing is, we're going to run Fire Strike, we're going to run Fire Strike Extreme, all of the benchmarks. Yeah, Fire Strike Extreme. Extreme actually needs slightly lower core clocks. I'm not going to put so much, like, work into Extreme. I guess we're going to run Ultra as well, because that one's actually worth... Oh, White Shark ran that. And he ran that at 1150 with 1600. Oh, well, I guess I gotta beat him then. Unfortunately, my CPU score isn't gonna, like, carry me to the top on that. Hopefully my driver, like, we'll see, like, oh, damn, so 1175, nope. That's a shame. I think that was a GPU crash. Then I do want to run Vantage. I guess I could also run Time Spy. Where is Time Spy? And 3D Mark 11 as well. Actually, speaking of 11... No, that's not 11. Like, so far I've not saved a single score, so... the thing is, like, if you're on air cooling, you don't have to worry super... Like, you don't have to be super, you know, careful about saving scores all the time. Yeah, I want to check 3D Mark 11, because I'm wondering, is, like, does my physics score still suck here? So, benchmark tests only. Hopefully 3D 11 doesn't do anything weird. I've not uploaded any custom Hawaii BIOSes. I don't even have that many, because Hawaii is an absolute pain to flash. Like, if you've ever flashed a Hawaii card, you'd know that it takes for freaking ever. Like, as far as I know, there's basically AMD did something on these where, like, the GPU core is really chatty to all the chips on it, on the card. And because the core keeps talking to stuff, if you try to do anything, like talk to the voltage controller, or talk to the, or write, like, you know, write to BIOS to the card, it takes forever. Everything takes forever on these, which is super annoying. So I have my 290X Vapor X flashed with a, like, timing strap change BIOS, and that's about it. Like, I've not done anything else on Hawaii cards because it's just like, I don't want to deal with it. Flash is quite fast under DOS. Yeah, but I'm lazy and I don't, like... I should set that up, but I'm lazy. It's not running very fast. Like, I don't know how many FPS 2 390s are supposed to get, but I get the feeling it's supposed to be quite a bit more than 130-ish. right? Oh, we'll see, I guess. I feel like it's not running in Crossfire. Oh, this is actually heavier than Firestrike. The CPU test is. Oh, it passed. Capture card's being derped, but that's fine. Okay. The physics looked okay. Though I only saw the end of it, so I'm not sure. Capture card? Okay, so in typical me fashion, so I am losing it's not right. There's no way it's running Crossfire. Like, Crossfire's not running. That's it's gotta be not Crossfired. Yeah, Crossfire is disabled right now, so I was right about that. My physics score is great. My combined is not great, but that's probably the lack of Crossfire doing that. So, yeah, let's bring on the Crossfire, I guess. I wonder why that disabled. Like, I wonder why that's disabled, though. Oh, no, what? Where did my second GPU core go? No, I'm using a cheapo Crucial BX500 SATA SSD. Why would, like, seriously, why would I use an NVMe? Okay, let's see if the GPU came back. Oh yeah, it came back. Why is there 3 of them? Nobody knows. AMD driver things. Okay, we're gonna put Crossfire back on. And we can run the 3D Mark 11. And absolutely bloody demolish the old score, because I have so much physics. Oh, man. So, the thing is, like, I've thought about this, and it's kind of neat to, like, have rankings for, like, best score ever achieved with a given GPU or CPU or whatever, regardless of, like, what accompanying hardware it has, but I've always thought it would be kind of neat to have, like, categories for GPUs and CPUs based on, like, the year they were released, like, best score possible on hardware from 2012, best score possible on hardware from like 2008 or whatever, right? Like, I think that would be really cool, because then you can't do what I'm doing here, where it's like, yeah, so I've got a really modern CPU that just absolutely demolishes one part of the benchmark, and I don't even have to worry about being good at this anymore. Do I have frame pacing off? Yes, good. Frame pacing is bad for performance. Oh my god, the coil line. Man, the dual-core AMD GPUs are always absolute screamers. It's not even whine, it's like buzzing. Because when people say whine, right, you think high-pitched noise. No, this is relatively low-pitched buzzing. It also changes pitch based on which workload we're running. It's not even the frame rate. Like, previously it was running around 200 FPS as well, and now it sounds quite different. Even though it's still around 200 FPS. And you determine... On some cards, you can certainly tell roughly how many frames it's getting based on the pitch. Especially if you know which benchmark they're running. Like 7990 and Unigine Heaven. You should... If you listen to one of those long enough, you can probably tell which part of the benchmark it's in. Because those things reference 7990s. I don't know about the, like, power color ones. Speaking of the power color ones, I want one of those that works. Because I do have one, but it doesn't work. So yeah, that's a shame. My dual core GPU collection is not very complete, unfortunately. I don't even have like a working 295X2, reference or otherwise. Did you see any leaks on 7900XT yet? You mean the rumors that it's gonna have 2 cores? I've seen those. I don't have, like, I'm not really, but the thing is, I'm not really excited for any more AMD GPU releases. Like, the 6000 series with the stupid clock limits was just like, yep, okay, this is where I draw the line. I've had it. I was cool with the 7970, the 290X, Furies, Polaris, freaking Vega, and then it's like, and then I skipped the 5700 because it was just like, And then they released the 6900, and it's like, oh, finally we have a competitive card, and they restricted it more so than Nvidia does, because obviously the reason why Nvidia outsells AMD is because Nvidia has more overclocking restrictions. That's definitely why Nvidia outsells AMD. So AMD decided, hey, we can do overclocking restrictions, and we can do them better. And like that, I decided I'm not buying any more AMD GPUs. At least not new ones. So, yeah. There isn't a solution. Like, the solution is AMD not being idiots. And we are talking about AMD's GPU division here. Like, the same GPU division that couldn't figure out how to put a proper heatsink on a GPU until Nvidia showed them how it's done. Right? Like, consider, like, it took AMD, like, Nvidia releases the 20 series with proper heatsinks, right? And AMD's like, for 6000 series, finally AMD's like, you know what? Maybe Nvidia had a point with those heatsinks. Maybe we shouldn't keep putting blowers on our cards. It's like, you think? It would have been a lot better if that realization occurred like several freaking years ago. Yeah, but then we'd actually be able to sell our GPUs. I wonder if Crossfire went away again. So, yeah, also AMD's driver software has just been, like, this, like, I didn't like this, but what they have on the, like, this is 1610 that I have installed on this operating system. But what they have on the newest drivers for the UI, it's just like, no, that's just, this is like I didn't like what they had on the original Adrenaline drivers, but now what they have is like, somehow it got worse. Like, I don't know how they managed that, but it got even worse. Like, yes, NVIDIA's driver UI isn't all fancy and pretty and animated, but at least NVIDIA's driver UI freaking works and is much easier to navigate. I think the capture card, yeah, the capture card was just deciding that it wasn't going to render anything anymore. Because, like, the thing with the driver UI for me is, like, it's a freaking driver. It doesn't need to look good, it just needs to bloody work. Right? That's all it needs to do, is I need to be able to go there, enable, disable multi-GPU. Actually, you don't even need to be able to do that anymore, because that's not supported. But, you know, I want some basic options for configuring, like, game profiles and that kind of thing. That's pretty useful, right? Various, like, graphic, like, driver-level graphic settings injections are cool, right? So, like, super sampling, like, being able to inject super sampling into stuff, disabling tessellation, like, cranking tessellation, that kind of thing. That's all cool, useful functionality to have in the driver. I don't know what all the other shit in the AMD driver is these days, but it doesn't need to be there. Oh, and I guess, like, color settings for your monitor and that kind of thing, right? Like, things you would expect your driver for the GPU to do. And then there's what AMD's drivers currently does, which is, like, there's game record capture software in there, which is, like, why? There's the shortcuts, which is, like, don't put shortcut, like, the hotkeys. Man, that was so annoying when I first installed, like, when they first introduced the hotkeys. Because their hotkey bindings conflicted with some hotkeys I had. So I had to go out of my way to disable that shit. So yeah, AMD's drivers are just, like, not great at all. Like, because the thing is, as far as I'm concerned, the only problem with the really old Catalyst drivers wasn't the UI, it was that they kept crashing. Right? And the UI didn't crash. The whole thing crashed. It was like, oh, you tried to play a YouTube video? Well, hardware acceleration on this version of the driver is broken, so you can't do that without a blue screen. Or, you're trying to play Minecraft? Well, the GPU's not going to figure out that Minecraft is a video game, so it's just going to run at 300 FPS, which, yeah, it is 300 megahertz. And so Minecraft's going to run at, like, 30 FPS, which, like, it is just Minecraft, but if you underclock the GPU enough, as in the GPU is literally running in 2D acceleration mode instead of 3D acceleration mode, even Minecraft can chug. And so yeah, there was like a bunch of dumb issues with the old drivers, but they were, like, the UI was not the issue. It was the stuff on the other end of the UI, right? Which would show up as all kinds of obnoxious symptoms. But AMD took it like, oh, our drivers are bad, well, let's make them fancy. It's like, you didn't fundamentally fix the problem, you just made it look better. Anyway, so I do believe I just... Wait. Man, I didn't beat him by that much. At least I'm not losing on the GPU score. By... Yeah, I'm really not losing on the GPU score. I'm getting 40,000... Wait a minute. Wait, I'm beating him by, like, a lot at everything. Except GPU. Like, I'm getting 40,721. I'm getting 32,000 physics, and I'm getting 20k combined. And the score I'm trying to beat is, like, 40,700 GPU, 24k physics, 19k... Actually, yeah, 19k combined. I guess the score ratings are really different. Like, if this was Firestrike, I'd expect to be up, like, way more points than I am. But, yeah, this ain't Firestrike, so... Anyway, this is a solid score. I'm going to save this. I don't like 3D Mark 11 very much, so we're going to save this, and I'm going to move on. Do I have the correct system info on this? I should. That's a real concern, because Windows 10, if you fiddle with the BCLK, the timing breaks, and then your benchmark scores are invalid, so... You do actually need to, like, not do that. So, 390x2, 3D11, Well, you need to have system info so that you can validate with the 3D Mark website that your timekeeping was correct. And what is up with the mouse sensitivity? Anyway, we're gonna save that, because I'm not gonna try to do a better score than that. Oh, damn, I just realized. Close. Like, can I not open that score? It's been a very long time since I've posted GPU scores to HardwareBot, if you can't tell. We're gonna have to open GPU-Z. Gonna have to show the crossfire. We're gonna have to have CPU-Z. We're gonna have to have memory as well. Actually, it shows crossfire enabled already. I don't think I need to do that. No, well... Oh no, I think I do need to do that on... They're both running the same clocks, though. So... Anyway, we're gonna put those over here. That should be fine. Yeah, it's not covering anything important. Then we need our memory settings. And that's it. And now I just need to do a print screen. No. Don't do that. There we go. Okay, so that's 3D Mark 11 done, I think. And now we can go back to Firestrike. Actually, we should try Firestrike Extreme. With these settings, like, if 11 runs, I think Extreme will run as well. I think for Time Spy, we need to disable SMT. And for Vantage, we definitely do. So Firestrike Extreme... Oh man, I can't wait to run 3-way GPU's Firestrike Extreme. Because the thing is, as the Firestrike resolution goes up, your GPU bottlenecking goes up. So you need to throw more GPUs at it. So it's like, yeah, I can't wait to throw 50% more GPU at the problem. It's going to be fun. What GPU is this? Late to the party, and apparently completely incapable of reading. You didn't need to redact the message. Can you crossfire a 390X2 and a regular 390? Yes. In fact, you can even crossfire a 390X2 and a 290X. Or even a 290. Like, AMD's crossfire just does not care. As long as the chip is the same, it'll probably crossfire. Which is basically my favorite thing about it. So yeah, we're going to totally run a 290X as well. And I actually want to do a 4-way setup with this thing. But the thing, we're not going to run 4-way today because there's not enough space on the desk, and I just have no way of actually getting all 4 cards into the test bench. So I need to figure out how to like build the 4-way abomination. But these don't need, like, at least they're AMD cards, so they don't need the crossfire bridges. So it shouldn't be too difficult to set up. Well, they're like newer AMD cards, so it shouldn't be too difficult to set up. Because there's no bridges. I also want to do multi-GPU Polaris cards, but the thing is I only have one working Polaris, and that's the one currently in my daily system, so... Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Can I find the song? All the music is my own stuff. It goes up on YouTube on a channel called Machine for Screams. Actually, I should link it. I should just link it under the live stream now that I think of it. I think somebody even pointed that out to me last live stream. It was like, yo, you should put it in the description. So, here's what the music is. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be on Spotify there. You ever done dual 7990 quad fire? So I do actually have 5 7990s, and they do all work. Well, no, more like I have 5 working 7990s. I also have 1 dead one. So I actually have 6 in total. But the issue is, 3 of them don't have heat sinks. And yeah, I've never gotten around to running 4-way. Because the biggest problem with the 7990s is they don't exactly have a perfect compatibility with modern motherboards. So it's not quite as bad as like GTX 590s, where like if you actually want to seriously bench a GTX 590, you basically have to run like X99, because anything more modern than X99, it goes like, the hell is like whatever PCIe switch is on the GTX 590, when you plug that into a modern motherboard, the motherboard just goes like, the fuck is this? And nothing happened, and it just doesn't initialize the card, so you're stuck with a black screen. But yeah, like I love big multi-GPU setups, so there's like a lot of multi-GPU stuff that I want to do, especially now that I have a CPU that absolutely demolishes Firestrike. Like originally this was the 7940X's job, but the 7940X has been dethroned by like, and I'm not even trying, like I can get more than 43,000 if I wanted to, but the thing is just yeah, the 39, like the 7940X has been just completely dethroned by the 5950X. This thing absolutely demolishes that chip. So anyway, what was the Firestrike Extreme score on these cards? Yeah, blew that away as well. My CPU is overpowered. Yeah, I'm actually straight up losing GPU score on this one, and I'm still winning overall. Nah, I think I could do something about that. I don't like it's kind of fun when the CPU can carry you, but it's like you know, there's a point where it gets too much. And it's like I want to at least match the graphics score and then still have my overall blown up. Actually, no, I'm losing on this. Yeah, I didn't read the overall. I was focusing on graphics anyway. So yeah, I'm actually losing this one right now overall. So yeah, we need to rerun that, just with more clocks. If I can get the memory higher, then I should be able to win that. Unless it's a driver thing. There's a decent chance, because yeah, he was running 1912. And for two-way GPUs, 1912 should actually be better than 1610. Just did, thanks for the £5. 5950X, what's the PBO and all-core overclocking look like? All-core, I've not actually tried to do like full stable all-core on it. Right now it's at 4.7, and for PBO... I've not really looked like PBO is a lot like on the 3950X, where it's like if you want to run heavy workloads at full speed, you run like 300, 230, 230, and then any other workload that actually, and then like Cinebench you run I think 300, 180, 180 for best scores. And then single core, like it goes up to, I think I've had the chip all the way up to 5.1 single core. The thing is, if I mess around with the PBO, like if I try to get PBO really high, it tends to get unstable in low core count workloads. So, yeah. The thing is, PBO actually, like, the funny thing about PBO is your different EDC and TDC settings will have different effects on different benchmarks. Like, Cinebench likes lower TDC and EDC settings than, say, Intel Burn Test. because Intel burn test is a heavier workload. And I think if you run like Prime 95, that even prefers an maybe even more aggressive settings than what Intel burn test likes. But yeah, like so if you had like a really light multi-core benchmark, you would probably be setting the PBO settings really low. So yeah, I've been through 3 and I haven't been able to get one above 4.4 gigahertz system stable. Yeah, that sounds about right. 4.4. I'd be surprised if mine did more than 4.5 all-core for AVX workloads. There was a 6950 X2. I have a 6990, but I've not heard of a 6950 X2. Oh wait, there was also a 6850 X2, wasn't there? Man, I saw one of those on eBay and I didn't manage to buy it, which I'm really annoyed about. Like, oh man, and I just closed the live stream tab, which was really dumb of me. Like, I love dual GPU cards, so I want to get more of them. Okay, now I beat White Shark's score, right? Beat him. Yep. I'm still not beating him on GPU score. Okay, I think he's just on a better driver, which, fair enough, like, his driver is just newer. I beat his combined, though. Yeah, so fun fact about combined score in Firestrike, at least with AMD GPUs, it seems to be super memory clock centric, which is why, like, I've actually, like, caught up on this, but I haven't caught up on that yet. Because GPU score is actually very, very core clock limited, but yeah. Memory score, not so much. I mean, combined score not is more memory, so anyway. Do I really want to... no, this is low. This is low. We're going to go faster. You're going to beat somebody. You got to beat them properly. He could potentially recover from a 100-point loss. I mean, he could probably recover from a 200-point loss as well, but it'll be harder. How Gamers Nexus got 4.7 for their review? By not stress testing it. That's usually how that happens. It's like, as long as you just run Cinebench, it'll look very, very stable. Wait, if you've only been barely able to do 4.4, how much voltage were you running? I would love to see your opinions on the few workstation Ryzen boards like the Asus Pro WS X570 Ace, personally running that board in my PC. The thing is, the workstation boards just kind of aren't my thing at all. So that's why I've not really talked about them much, because it's like they're not meant for me. Like, the feature set is like wrong, the price point is wrong. It's like, I don't know why I'd ever get one of those. Did 4.43 with 1.37. Wait, you've only seen 4.5 in game. Well, actually, I've not run any games, so I don't know how it runs on games. Whoa, the system just reset itself. Interesting. I wonder if I tripped the power supply. Nah. You should have a 40 amp OCP. Per rail. And there's 2 separate 8 pins going to the card, so yeah, there's no way it tripped that. Is 10C between CCDs at full load considered normal? It's not a super high... I wouldn't be too surprised by a 10-degree difference between the CCDs. It's not it's not ideal, but yeah, it doesn't really sound like too much of a problem to me, as long as neither CCD is overheating. Which actually, if you're on PBO, it won't overheat because it'll just thermal throttle the CCD that's getting hottest. Actually, you know what? That was a dumb idea. I can just run it at the same clock. I think I might catch it. If you're gaming, yeah, of course it'll run more on one CCD than on both, like on the other, if you're gaming. Like, because one CCD is generally going to be better, so if you have a workload that's, like, not super multi-threaded, you'd ideally want it to want to only run it on the faster of the two CCDs. Where's Firestrike Extreme? No, I was running Ultra. Wait, no, it was Extreme, yeah. Oh man, I'm going to get destroyed on Ultra. Now that I think about it. Because, like, I'm struggling with Extreme. When will you OC smartphones with 3D Mark? Probably never, because smartphones don't interest me. I think Crossfire just isn't enabled again. Yep, Crossfire just decided that it's gonna leave the building for reasons nobody understands. Oh, AMD drivers. Like, I'm more likely to try overclock a laptop than a smartphone. Oh. You still don't have the second GPU back. Well, that's dumb. Oh, I shouldn't have opened 3D Mark while doing that. I don't think it likes it when you do that. Oh well, I guess we'll see. Also, I just want to check that my settings are... Yeah, okay, tessellation's overridden. Good. That's extreme, right? I guess we'll see when we see the FPS. this is Fire Strike. Regular. Also, it's it's glitching out a lot, but that's fine. The smoke totally moves like that. Alright, you ever seen smoke in real life? Totally does that kind of thing. Very realistic. Why do you keep crashing, card? Oh, whoa, it crashed really hard. Memory too high. Yeah, I'm also thinking that it's too high on the memory. Alright, that's that one. I was like, why is that on repeat? Oh, that's one of the very first ones I made. Yep, that explains it. I normally skip this part of the playlist, so... Actually, I'm just gonna do that. There we go. I do want to run extreme. Do we still have Crossfire, though? No, Crossfire decided to leave the building again, because... Why wouldn't you do that? Yup, it just completely left. We need to shut down. We need to power back on. And we need to re-enable Crossfire. Also, I'm really starting to wonder if the card could clock the memory higher if it just had better memory power delivery. Like, 1600 memory isn't terrible, but it's not exactly high. Unless it's on Elpida. If it's on Elpida memory chips, then it's honestly kind of high. But, I don't know what it's on. I've not checked. GPU-Z should know. And it's on Hynix. Yeah, so this really should be able to clock higher than this. If you had the necessary memory power delivery for it. Re-enable Crossfire, lovely. Actually, what are the timing straps again? I think the timing straps go 1250. 1375. 1500, 1625, 1750. And I think that's the last timing strap. It has been a very long time since I looked into the memory timing straps. So I don't actually remember how to find them, but I do have an idea. Okay, so I do have a list of the different hex codes for the timing straps. Though actually to get at those, I need HXD. Well, at least I know the timing strap is 1625, so basically the reason why I care about the timing strap is if you go right above the strap, instead of right to the strap, the memory stability might get better. So what I'm basically saying is 1650 might run when 1625 doesn't. Actually, even 1626 probably does. Though the performance, you would actually lose performance if you don't go significantly past it, so I'm gonna try to do this. Nope, that's the wrong 3D mark. Too many 3D marks on my desktop. Put this one down here. Is your playlist randomized? Nope, it just goes in order. Over and over and over again. Like, I don't like it when tracks come up as a surprise. Like, I like it being predictable, so yeah, that's probably part of why I also listen to all of my music album by album. Okay, I think it doesn't like 1675. I bet Crossfire died again. Yeah, okay, so the memory on this thing isn't particularly great. Man, I am so tempted to mod this thing. So tempted. But on the other hand, it's like... I mean, this one isn't even in that particularly great condition. But yeah, it would be nice if it was better at memory overclocking. Like, the thing is, even though the strap, like, going above the strap might give you a little bit more stability, like... It doesn't, like, if the frequency is just too high, then the frequency is just too high, and it doesn't matter that the timing's got looser. So, yeah, I think at 1675 it's very much just like, yep, frequency's too damn high. So I guess we're stuck at 1600. No, I refuse to be stuck at 1600. 1650 it is. We'll try that. Oh, and max the power limit. Max that power limit. There we go. Wait, did Crossfire go away again? Please tell me that Crossfire didn't decide to leave. Oh no, it's still here. Good. Aren't you a good little driver? Thanks, Fepe the Penguin for the $5. Oh, just did. Please publish your findings on 5950X overclocking. Yeah, I will eventually. Once I actually have, like, findings that don't change every time AMD updates the AGSA. Finally fed up with that 14 nanometer junk. What 14 nanometer junk are you referring to? You mean Intel? Oh, no. We're not done with Intel's 14 nanometer CPUs by any means. Have you forgotten about Z590? This right here should be TRA-10C. Yeah, this is TRA-10C3. I think it's on YouTube. Yeah, this one should be up on YouTube. And it doesn't have like a bajillion different versions, so the same one I have playing here should be up on the channel. Why is the score so bad? Oh, combined went down. Why did combined go down? We're running 1650 on the freaking... Oh, wait, right, because we're above the strap, so the performance is trash. Man. Yeah, so this is the thing, is if you go above the memory strap, like, you lose performance. So if we go down to 16... say 20, like, I want to run it a little bit low just to help the stability. This should go way up. Here's the track. Drop the link in chat. Zen 3 N7 Plus or just N7? I have no idea. Not really something I've paid that much attention to. Customize the straps. Changing the straps on Hawaii GPUs takes forever. Like... forever, because you need to flash the BIOS every time, and that takes forever. So we're not we might end up doing that, but it depends on how how committed I am to doing this properly. Would you use the X570 Godlike? No. If there was any other motherboard with the same PCIe slot layout, I would use any other motherboard. Actually, no, that's not true. If there was like a BioStar motherboard with this PCIe slot layout, that would probably be the only board that I wouldn't use instead of this. But the thing is, for all of this GPU benching, I really need the PCIe slot layout this comes with, because it just gives me the option to run triple GPU setups, which you just don't get on a lot of the other boards. And that's kind of all I cared about. So, yeah, here I am, stuck with running the Godlike. It's not the best motherboard I have for memory overclocking. It's about the same for CPU overclocking as a bunch of my other boards. It's, you know, like... yeah, it's just like... but it has the right PCIe slot layout, so I got no choice. Damn. Like I said, my perfect motherboard would be a B550 with a PLX chip. And it would cost more than like a flagship X570 after I'm done with the PCIe layout. Because it would be, like, it would do all the things. There'd be no M.2 slot. Actually, it would probably still have space for M.2 slots, it's just like that wouldn't be a priority. I ran the wrong Fire Strike. You doofus. Why would you do that? And it just reset itself. Man, system info. Sysinfo is just like... I really hope Crossfire didn't die again. I'm just going to give the CPU a little bit more voltage. That'll make it pass system info more consistently. Zoid designs the motherboard, never. Because, like, what I just described with, like, the crazy PCIe layout B550 board is, like, nobody's ever going to want to make that. Because it wouldn't sell. Like, because the thing is, PLX chips are crazy expensive, and then PCIe 4.0 switches aren't exactly cheap either, so it's like, yeah, so we're going to just have, like, a stack of both on the motherboard. Is kind of like, yeah, how about we just don't do that? Okay, Crossfire is still here. The Godlikes actually sort of replace the X-Power boards. Would I put more than 2 USB ports? Yes. Like, you'd have, like, basically the I.O. would be, like, USB ports, some kind of LAN, I don't really care that much, and two dedicated PS2 ports. So you'd get one for your mouse, one for your keyboard. So you could have PS2 everything. Not a combo port. Like, the thing is, I don't want an unusable motherboard. It's like with a bunch of PCIe. No, I want a very, very PCIe-heavy motherboard that also just kind of does everything, like, does everything else I care about, which is mostly just USB ports, post codes, power, you know, the overclocking functionality. And then a bunch of PCIe. Be the perfect board. Did MSI kind of ruin the credibility of the X-Power brand with the X370? Not really, in my opinion. Like, I don't think, like, that's not the reason why they phased out the branding. I think the main reason they phased it out is because the Godlikes replaced it. And overclocking just kind of, you know, isn't, like, overclocking basically stopped being cool, so it was like, yeah, instead we're going to have a Godlike as our flagship board instead of the X-Power. And even if overclocking was cool, like, Godlike is just a much more idiot-proof naming scheme. It's like, what's your best motherboard? Well, the Godlike. Yep, nice and simple. Crossfire decided to die again. Lovely. Thank you, Crossfire. That's very nice of you. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one. We can skip that too. Nah, MSI made some pretty good boards. I really like their X99 boards. Yeah, I really like their X99 boards. I've not really used many of their other older boards. Well, I had a Z87M Power, and yeah, that wasn't particularly amazing, but I had one of those. It wasn't terrible, but yeah, not like I would have rather had an Asus board, I think. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to re-enable Crossfire again. Okay, yeah, so I was right. Like, I wasn't getting ahead of myself when I was like, yeah, this is gonna take a lot longer than expected. Admittedly, it's because I'm not just trying to beat the scores, I'm trying to, like, beat them a lot. Right, because I've already beaten all the scores. Like, so far I've beaten every single score that I've needed to beat. It's just, like, I want to beat them by more than, like, 100 points in some cases. That's just not great. Okay, so this time I'm just gonna run it nice and... Nah, no, I'm gonna run it like this. Yeah. Oh yeah, their Z390 boards weren't really bad. I mean, the thing is, Z390 came out after AM4, so... Yeah. Do you think EVGA should do AMD GPUs and motherboards? I mean, it would be nice to have more competition, but the competition actually has to be good. Right? So... Like, making motherboards just for the sake of making them, no. But if they wanted to make some, like, really cool overclocking focused boards, that would be neat. The thing with AMD motherboards, though, is there's not really much you can do to them to, like, differentiate them. Yeah, I'm really starting to wish this card was, like, I want to take an oscilloscope to this thing and just probe every single inch of it and go like, okay, we need more caps here, more caps there, more caps bloody everywhere. Hopefully it finishes this run. Like, yeah, it's artifacting like crazy, but it might still be able to finish the run. Which is what I'm hoping for. Nope! Damn it! It locks up so hard you have to reset the system. Yeah, the power button doesn't even work. I think Crossfire just dropped again. They're classifieds. Depends which generation of classified boards you're referring to. Yeah, X58 classified were amazing. And then, like, P55 I've heard great things about, but then, like, P67, Z68, Z77, Z87, Z97, Z170, even Z270, like, those are all platforms that it's like, I've heard horrible things about EVGA boards for those. I actually have a Z170 EVGA board, so we'll see if it's as bad as people say it is when I get around to doing stuff with it. Hey, Crossfire left the building again! Oh, man. I'm starting to regret this driver choice, but... Could be worse. Like, there are certain situations, like, with AMD GPUs, like, worst case scenario, you end up with a system setup where every time it crashes, you need to uninstall the drivers and reinstall them. It's like, we're not quite on that level yet, so this is fine. This is perfectly acceptable. Yeah, I have a Z170 Stinger. The little ITX board. To be fair, the whole crossfire coming and going thing, this is news to me. Like, I don't think I've run into this before. Like, I've run into the whole, oh, your system won't boot until you reinstall the drivers thing quite regularly. But the, like, crossfire just randomly goes away is a new, like, that's entirely new. No, I've not seen that one before. And honestly, I don't find it that annoying. Like, this is way better than the whole, you have to reinstall the drivers or I'm not gonna boot. I'm getting, like, the thing is, I can't even finish a run right now, which I'm kind of getting annoyed about. I want to check something, because I have a suspicion that the GPU is not doing something. Okay, so we've got our sensors here. Got Firestrike open. I'd like it if the GPU was locked at full speed for both of them, but... yeah, no. Like, I'm wondering about the voltage situation. Okay, we're gonna try a... okay, I'm gonna try an 1100, 1600 run. Which is way slower than it needs to be, in my opinion, but, let's see. Because of the high switching frequencies, do you use low ESR caps? Yes. Actually, like, it's not even just low ESR, it's like low ESL. Like, I very specifically have a bunch of capacitors that are spec'd for low ESL. Because the ESR, like, the thing is, getting a capacitor with, like, less than 10 milliohms of ESR, very easy. Getting a capacitor that's actually useful on a GPU without having, like, tens of thousands of microfarads of them, kind of hard. What MOBO do you recommend for mining? I recommend not mining with GPUs. Wrong place to ask that question. You ever team up with a motherboard company? I think ever is a strong word there. Especially since I don't really have any, like... yeah, I wouldn't say never, but I'd say currently I'd say very unlikely just because it's like... with what I like... yeah, like right now I'd say very unlikely. Impossible, definitely not. The issue I see with it, like, I guess if I ever get bored of just, like, reviewing stuff, then I'll consider it, I guess. Because the thing is, if I do a Build Zoid Edition motherboard, it's like, well, can't review any more motherboards anymore. Because I got my own bloody motherboard. What do you think about BioStar Z590 boards? So I've not used any of the Z590 BioStar boards, but if they're anything like the B550 board that I've used, not great. Get literally anything else at that price point from, well, actually maybe ASRock would probably, like anything from Gigabyte, Asus, or MSI at a similar price point. Yeah, but Azrock might actually give Biostar a run for the money on the build quality. Man, this score sucks. Why is it so bad? The hell? Oh wait, it doesn't do, like, this is the one downside to GPU-Z and multi-GPU is, like, it doesn't log the second card at the same time. It only logs one card. Was it throttling? Oh my, why was it? I'm such a moron! It's on the stock power limit! It's like, oh, why is the score so bad? This may be because you didn't move this little slider. Yeah, that would do it. Wouldn't it? Yep. Yeah, it would. Yeah, I know you can open 2 instances of GPU-Z. Like... What do you think? Like, you think I've never worked with GPU-Z before? Why don't you use Linux? Because it's not legal for hardware bot benchmarks. And also just, I don't see any reason to use it. You can open 2 GPU-Z instances and have one monitor each of the cores. It's just like, I don't feel like doing that. Like, the thing with Linux, I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with Linux. It's just like, I'm not, like, I don't see a reason to use it for me. It keeps dying here. Now Crossfire went out the window again, didn't it? Man, I should have saved that first Firestrike Extreme score. The first one where I beat White Shark, I should have saved it, because now it's like, I'm not going to be able to replicate that anymore, am I? Oh boy. Oh well, it's fine. We're going to be doing these live streams for like a while. And Crossfire left. Of course it left. Right, so we need to power down again. Power on again. Actually, so we're gonna be going past the BIOS. A little something I want to try. Hi, Sig. Thanks for the 20 Norwegian crowns. And, well, I give up on that. I mean, he's not even my best friend, so your misread is even worse. I mean, I wouldn't even necessarily consider him a friend. Right now it's running 2066 Infinity Fabric. I just don't have the filter that like other people have for like, oh, I'm gonna be nice to you because you give me money. It's like, no, that's worse, I'd say. Like, I assume, like, he's been doing that for so long at this point that he obviously knows, like, what I think of his comments about being my best friend, but, like... Yeah, it's not like I'm gonna get other people to start thinking that... And even then, it's like, what, ultimately, you're just paying for my attention, so I really don't see the value of that as a friendship. So apparently this card likes to hit OCP. Wait, it's running at stock, isn't it? Man, if this thing is hitting OCP, which wouldn't surprise me, it would just annoy me. Why does it have such a low OCP? It's on 60 amp power stages. It should have an OCP of like 300 amps. So that's gonna... Yeah, I'm gonna have to, like, check that, I guess. It's got LEDs for indicating that the VRM is running, so we'll just have to take a look when it crashes next time. Is this Fire Strike or Extreme? I guess we'll see the FPS. Okay, this is Extreme. I think it's the secondary core that drops out. Can't believe this is hitting OCP at plus 100, though. Like, that's depressing for a high-end card. Especially with how huge the PCB is. Is that music NCS or DRM free? Well, I made the music, and I didn't copyright it, so... You know, like, the only person who could DRM strike me for it is me. And I ain't gonna do that. I actually need to figure out, like, something with the music. Wait. Oh, I think the VRM is dropping out. Yeah, so the second core's VRM just drops out. Lovely. Which explains why it doesn't work until you, like, full power cycle. So we need to, like, shut down, because that resets the VRM controller. Because, man, like, why? It's like, yeah, we're building a high-end, ultra high-end limited edition GPU. VRM shuts down. Like, if this was a reference card, I'd get it. But no. No, this is a custom PCB from PowerColor, and they couldn't figure out how to build a VRM that didn't need a stupid low OCP. Also, now it doesn't want to boot. You have a Spotify playlist? No, I don't use Spotify at all. Stuck on 22 again. Why is it stuck on 22 again? Go. Just added an extra memory stick to the system, so that'll F9 the postcode. Or at least it should. Nope. Why is it 99ing? That's new. Yeah, it's just stuck on 99. Okay, that's great. Clear CMOS, I guess. I guess maybe running the Infinity Fabric at 2066 was not the best idea. You know what? I think I'm gonna add the second memory kit in. Gonna go dual rank. Because, like, dual rank at 3800 will actually probably score better than whatever I'm running right now at, like, 4133. Gotta carry them GPUs harder. Yeah, I guess the thing is, like, when I was last testing the dual rank versus single rank thing, I was admittedly testing against, like, on a motherboard where I could run single rank at 4800 megahertz. And at that point, if you tighten up the timings, single rank actually starts performing properly. But at speeds like this, yeah, that's not happening. So dual rank it is. Well, admittedly, I'll do those as well. Should work at 4. We'll see. Okay, nope. Too tight on the tertiaries. Yeah, too tight. Oh, they don't let you do that. Oh, well. I've not actually run dual rank on this board in a very long time, so I might be asking a little too much from it. This time I'm just going to do the SCLs and not touch the DD timings. Oh, actually, it'll help the memory stability a little bit. Actually, for this kit, that's really, like, high, going 1.6. That doesn't need that much for CL14 at 3800. Yeah, that should work. Okay. So, do we... No, well, Crossfire should be back. Actually, if I didn't boot without the second GPU running, then yeah, Crossfire should just work. Lovely. Okay, so... Oh, that's old tricks. It's not gonna work. And then, okay, well, so right now, if I want to get rid of the OCP issue, I'd have to hook up the Elmore EVC, or at least an Intersil controller. I mean, not Intersil, Infineon USB 005. And hooking up either of those is probably going to involve soldering. So at that point, I may as well add extra capacitors to the card. Because it's not going to be mint anymore. And so it's fine if I mod it some more. Okay, we're going to try it like this. Because obviously, like, I'm tripping OCP, which is not instability. That's just, like, the VRM crashing. Well, the VRM going like, oh my god, you're pulling too much power, don't do that, and shuts down. We're not going to be doing that on stream. Yeah. No. Also, this card is an absolute nightmare to disassemble. It's running in PCIe 3.0 because the card literally doesn't do 4.0. Okay, so if this run doesn't crash, I should beat White Shark. We're saving it, and I'm moving on with my life. We're going back to Fire Strike. And then I really want to get around to running the 390X today. And then 290X I guess we'll do tomorrow. And I have several 290Xs, so we'll also be running like 290X 2A. Wait, tomorrow? No, because tomorrow I want to publish a video. So yeah, it might be like live stream almost every other day because I have a lot of GPUs to get through. A lot of GPUs. I'm pretty excited about it. I like GPU benching. GPU benching is best. I'm not sure if I'm gonna like mod all the car, like if there's gonna be like, I'd like to do some modding. The thing with modding with me is though, like there's, like a lot of people think it's like, oh, we're gonna get to see a lot of soldering. No, most of me modding is staring at the card, sitting there going like, I wonder where I can put this. Like most of the time, I'm not actually soldering, I'm figuring out where I want to do things. Because that's like the trick, like either you can be really good at soldering and then you don't have to think too much about where you're soldering to, or you can be bad at it and just, you know, choose your battles so you don't have to be good at it. What you know about the upper EDC limit is on the Gigabyte Aorus Master? I wouldn't. You should be able to punch in like 999, but if you do that, it'll not perform as good as if you punch in a, like, correct value. Okay, so... Well, I beat White Shark, but by even less than last time. Oh no, this is embarrassing. This is legit embarrassing. This is like you bring your 43k CPU score and you're doing only like 13k GPU. It's like, yeah, I just, oh well. It's still a better, it's still a high score. We're gonna put this one on the desktop. 3D, so 390x2 FSE. Save. Now we need to do the hardware bot validation screenshots, which is always fun. I'm still winning, just not by much at all. Man, my score is horrible. It's so bad. Oh wait, they completely changed how this works. So we put this over here. I'm so used to putting it out, like doing the layout one way, and now it's like, no, you do it the other way now. I can cover up the monitoring stuff. That doesn't matter. Cover that up. And we can pop these two over here. GPU 2. Not that they're running different settings. They're running the same settings, so... yeah. So it should be like... I don't know. And print screen. Twice, just in case. Now we can go back to running Firestrike. A good benchmark. That doesn't, like, make the VRM shut down at relatively low voltages. Actually, you know what? We're gonna do it like this. Oh no, actually, it's already artifacting, isn't it? Wait. I think anytime it goes to... yeah, it's already dying. Okay, nope. Nope. Yeah, it just can't run 1670 at all. Okay. Okay, card. Let's see if we can run Firestrike. When you put liquid metal on resistors, it doesn't, like... The problem isn't that it, like, eats away at the resistor. It's that liquid metal is heavily based on tin. Your solder is heavily based on tin. So you can imagine what happens when the liquid metal meets the solder, right? Your solder very quickly starts turning into more not quite liquid metal, but not very solid material. What are you listening to? I'm actually listening to my own music. This is probably why it's so bad. Nah, not Fruity Loops. Want a BZ album. You're probably gonna get one eventually. It's just an acquired taste. Giving me way too much credit there, in my opinion. Yep, the core stopped working again. Oh no, I pressed reset. No, I need to hit the power button. Because I need the board to shut down so that we power cycle the VRM. There we go. Now the VRM will fire up again. I think for most people, the music I make would be so aggravating that they wouldn't be able to focus on whatever it is they're trying to do. Does the music get faster and faster? It doesn't really... I don't really do, like, gradual tempo changes. Like, I really like the music sort of crashing from one thing into another. Like, a lot of my tracks are like, okay, we're gonna do, like some of them... Well... Yeah, no, a lot of them are just, like... The thing is, I don't have any formal background in music at all. So I just kind of go by what sounds cool, and then a lot of what I listen to, like, I like my extreme core genres. Okay, so I'm quite happy to listen to, like, grindcore album after grindcore album after grindcore album, and just go about my day while listening to grindcore album after a grindcore album after grindcore album. And, yeah, so basically I'm very happy to go from, like, really, really fast to suddenly going really slow and then going right back to really, really fast. No, I actually can't, like, I've not really, like, I don't quite hit that, like, same level of speed most of the time on my stuff. Not that I play anything, it's just, like, the tempo that it's written at, it's not that fast. What did I want? I want tricks. Oh no, that's not gonna run though. Okay, we're gonna try 1140. 1625 and like 75 millivolts, because I need the second VRM to stop crashing for once. Amon Amarth is not really the kind of thing that I would listen to. I have friends who listen to it, but not me. I listen to deathcore. I love deathcore. Deathcore is great. I mean, well, it depends on what deathcore. Keen to overclock some Intel XE cards. If the XE cards have the same level of overclocking support that, like, mainstream Intel CPUs have, hell yeah. This is running way too slow. Why is it running so slow? Did I not power cycle the GPU correctly? No, we are running Crossfire. I forgot to change the power limit, didn't I? Yes, yes I did. Because I'm a moron. And I may or may not be getting distracted by the chat. Is multi-GPU overclocking more interesting than single? Not really. Like, it depends on what you do. What about symphonic metal? No, I like my I like my metal core. Literally. Like, I like metalcore, industrial metal, a very small amount of death metal. Deathcore, grindcore, some hardcore, which, like, that's just, you know, more metalcore, hardcore, kind of the same thing. Depends which way, like, it's like which one leans more metal and which one leans more punk. I do listen to a lot of pop punk, actually, funnily enough. So between all of the horrible stuff I listen to, there's, like, Green Day as well. And NoFX. What else is there? I listen to a little bit of post-hardcore. I guess Avatar is like the most, like... I think that's Melodeath, isn't it? Man, I have a horrible, I do a horrible job of tracking the different genres. Okay, well, it crashed, so it's probably going to run like garbage if I try to run it again, but we'll try run it again. Just in case maybe it didn't lose all its performance, because that tends to happen with AMD GPUs if, like, they crash out of a benchmark, the score the performance goes straight to hell. But maybe I got lucky and it won't do that. It probably will, but we'll see. Your secret guilty pleasure song. Oh. Don't really have one. The thing is, I like speed and I like distortion. That's like the two main things for me. It's like, honestly, if you played pop music with distortion, I'd probably listen to it and be just fine with that. So yeah, it's a lot of the like older metal stuff out there is just like I don't think it's bad music, it's just not the kind of stuff I'd listen to. Oh yeah, Flesh God Apocalypse is amazing. I really wish it was easier for me to get some of their albums, though. Infected Mushroom. I've heard of that, and I've tried it, and I'm not really a fan. No, actually, I think technically I think one of the artists that I listen to that's like very industrial leaning did a collab with somewhat like some electronic music artist, and they made like a bunch of electronic stuff, and I think it sounds cool. But it's still like, it still has those sort of like kind of metal, kind of punk influences to it, so like, I really do mostly listen to just metal, though. Like, admittedly, very electronic-leaning metal, but metal. So, like, sometimes very electronic-leaning, but yeah. Still very... Well, the funny thing is, like, a lot of the stuff I would consider metal, because I'd consider, like, deathcore metal, whereas... If you ask any metal elitist, is like, is deathcore metal? It's like, no. It's like, well, I think you're wrong. It's metal in my book. Anyway, so we'll save the score. Man, it'd be cool to break 26k and 29,000, but the VRM keeps shutting down, so that's not happening. Well, 26k might happen if you just run it enough times, but 30k isn't, unless the VRM stops shutting down, and I'm not fixing that today. So the logic behind why deathcore isn't metal is basically that deathcore is like very extreme punk, which is like technically correct, I guess. But it's like, it still sounds way more like metal than any like punk as far as I'm concerned. So it's like, sure, it might not have, I don't know, like, the argument I've heard is like, it doesn't have like metal riffing or something. It's like, yeah, it's not very melodic and very chuggy and I guess sort of simplistic in a lot of ways, but that's like, doesn't change the fact that it sounds way more like death metal than it does like punk music. So, yeah, metal in my book. Anyway, so we gotta save this, because this is actually, like, this is a decent score. It's not the score it's not quite as high as I'd like it to be, but it's not terrible, so we can save it. If drone metal is considered. Yeah, and then you have, like, the really freaking, like those metal genres. To be fair, some of, like, the doom metal type stuff that, like, Pig Destroyer did, I think sounds really cool. Like the, what's it called? Mass and Volume album? Really, really cool. Not something I listen to all the time. Normally, if it comes up in my playlist of their albums, I skip it, but every so often it is cool to listen to. Actually, I should have the second card open on... Doesn't make a difference. They're running the same settings, so yeah. Anyway, we're going to print screen that again. Yeah, so as you can see, the dual rank really didn't do anything to the physics score. I think I must have been running 4.8 gigahertz the last time I had a 45k physics. Or it might have been that I was running an NVIDIA GPU, and NVIDIA GPUs just boost your physics score, which is something I've suspected for a while, which would explain a lot of my problems with 3D Mark 11. Why is my CPU score so low? It's because you're running AMD. Ah, okay. Yeah, that would definitely explain it. What did I want to do? Oh, right. Save a file. So we're going to do 390x2 FS. And I guess we should move on to Vantage at this point. Now, for Vantage, there's a trick. You can't run it with 16... well, you can't run it with SMT turned on. And I think Time Spy is the same thing. So actually, we should run some Time Spy, and I'm just going to drop the GPU clocks, because I don't know if it'll run Time Spy at full speed. So we're going to back off to 1100, and like 1550 on the memory. Should be nice and safe, and we can run some Time Spy and see how Time Spy runs. And Time Spy should be very GPU... Oh, I don't have the key installed. Give me a second. There we go. Time Spy is now unlocked. We can disable the demo. Actually, I've listened to some of Leo Morachi. I'm not going to try to pronounce his name. Some of his covers, and I do think they're really good. Slam is cool. Like, the only issue is it's like, okay, I guess that would be my guilty pleasure as a genre, would be slam metal. Because some of it, yeah, some of it does sound actually kind of good. Not all of it. In fact, not most of it. But occasionally, there's good slam metal. I think it's a good thing I never paid that much attention to the Slipknot lyrics on the... or really on any of their albums. Honestly, I even like the third one. Like, other than the the mixing on the third one is weird, but it's still good. Which I guess I tolerate that mostly because a lot of grindcore bands just mix like absolute garbage. Like absolute freaking garbage. Like, and they do it on purpose. Like, that's the worst part, is like there's one album from Pig Destroyer where it's like, why would you mix this like this? Just like, yeah, we wanted this album to sound different from the previous one, and I'm like, yeah, it sounds different, but it sounds worse. So yeah, like, the third album is like, so I don't mind the third Slipknot album that much, even though it's like, yeah, it definitely isn't mixed as, like, I prefer the mix on Iowa and the self-titled a lot. But, yeah, third album's fine. Fourth album's also fine. And then the latest album... No, fourth album is horrible. Because that's All Hope Is Gone. Yeah, All Hope Is Gone is terrible. There's, like, 3 or 4 good songs on the whole thing. And even the 3 or 4 good songs aren't really that great. And then the latest album... Then there's, what's it called? The fifth one's fine. And then the sixth one that they released, there's like one song I like on it. Like the sixth one, I feel like they're trying too hard to be musical. Which is like, that was never why I was listening to you in the first place. Agoraphobic Nosebleed. I actually have Arc from Agoraphobic Nosebleed. The rest of their stuff, though, is like... It's like too extreme even for me. Wait, what Slipknot tracks did you listen to? Because most of the Slipknot tracks are... Like, I wouldn't consider them... They're like, really edgy, but I wouldn't really consider them emo. At least, like, the first 2 albums, like, yeah, very edgy, but not emo as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, emo would be My Chemical Romance, who I do also have in my playlist, actually. I really like Gently and Gehenna. It's kind of it, I guess. I guess there's Vermilion, which I'm not really, like, that's not really the kind of thing I go to for Slipknot. So, what else is there? Goodbye, maybe? What do you think of Skinny Puppy? Never listened to them. I've heard the name, never listened to them. You into Tool? No. All this rock music talk and nobody listens to music that's actually listenable. Well, I mean... Man, Duality and Unsated are like exactly the kind of Slipknot songs that I consider trying too hard. Like, especially Unsainted, in my book, is like trying way too damn hard. Okay, so we got 17k with SMT turned on. I'm just gonna print screen this. Now we're gonna disable SMT, because at least I think on X299 that was a thing, where the CPUs would do better, like you would get better performance without SMT. For time spy physics. Yeah, I love distortion and low. The thing is, like, I have a really hard time, well, no, for my stuff, like, my own stuff, the main issue is I have a really hard time with any higher pitched notes and, like, making them not sound terrible. So I ultimately end up with a bunch of stuff that's played, like, that just sits ridiculously low on the frequency, because it's like, well, that always seems to sound somewhat okay, even if it's not great. Whereas if you do something in the higher pitches, I feel like it's too easy to make something that sounds really, really awful. So, yeah. The thing is, I don't play any instruments. It's all just MIDI programming for the music I have. So it's like, I literally, like, all the terminology for music is like, I have no idea, man. I just go down the freaking MIDI keyboard until we get to, like, C2. This sounds pretty good. That's where I write the rest of the song. The thing is, I don't even, like, play a keyboard. Like, I literally just drag the notes around. Because I'm way too uncoordinated. This is what I get for using the AMD code names in the stream name, in the stream title, isn't it? Oh well. I was hoping the Ryzen 5950X would drag people in, but yeah, it's not working. If you're not... No, I'm happy with the 5950X. I'm not happy with how the stream is going. I could have done this on my own, would have been much more productive. Well, I actually don't think I would have been much more productive because this is mostly just waiting for the benchmarks to finish. I actually really like this one. This one's great. Like, honestly, the biggest problem I had is when I wrote this riff right here, I was like, yeah, now we'll just have 6 minutes of that. Perfect. Also, I keep, like... I feel like I've had the idea to rewrite this riff multiple times, and I've somehow managed to stop myself. But... yeah, it's just, like, it's so, like... what? Definitely, like... the song overall is kind of like, it doesn't really go anywhere, but that the bass line on it is just like, I love it. It's the greatest thing I've ever made. Or one of the better things I've made, definitely. Actually, greatest music-wise, not probably, very possible. Anyway, so I was right. It does go up if you disable the SMT. So that's fun. Right, like previously we were getting 17K, now we get 18K. That's a pretty big jump. Neat. So that does still work, as expected. So what's the time spy score to beat? Because I've probably not beaten it. Did nobody run time? Nobody ran Time Spy on one of these. Are you kidding me? How can people have this card and not run Time Spy on it? I guess it's not super relevant to the generation, but it's not even that slow. Like 8K, not too bad. So I'll just post a score to get hopefully. Well, the thing is, there's like not that many people with these cards, so it's not like it's gonna make a huge difference if I post a score with this or not. But I'll post a score anyway. Oh wait, I have Tessellation disabled. I am an idiot. We can't post a score. I need to re-enable Tessellation for Time Spy. No. Use application settings. There we go. Yeah, you can't run Time Spy without Tessellation. That's not legal. There we go. Fun fact, Tessellation makes it even harder to run a benchmark than not having Tessellation. So, yeah. Yeah, if you're benching Time Spy on anything with more than 16 threads, kill... Well, I don't think it's necessarily... I'm not sure where the rollover point is, because I think up to maybe like 24 you might be fine with SMT on, but there's certainly a point in Time Spy where it's like, if you have more than X threads, you should disable SMT because it makes the score go up. And 16 core and 18 core CPUs are very much at the point of like, you should disable SMT. Honestly, on the 18 core, you might even want to disable a couple cores. And this is why I don't like Threadripper very much, because Threadripper is at the point where you have so many damn cores that not only do you have to disable SMT, you have to turn off half the CPU before you get usable performance. I like the loading screen for the second graphics test. This is like a nice color combination. It's a good looking loading screen. And the test itself, not so much. The loading screen, way better color. 280X, yeah, that's a rebranded 7970. Funnily enough, I might be able to run 280X in cross... Actually, well, I want to try running 280X Crossfire with my 7970s. I have a very long list of all the different cards that I want to run with the 5950X. And that's just the AMD GPUs. And it's not complete either. It's only the GCN and, like... Actually, I think they're all GCN. Yeah, damn. That's like... So I have a list of all the GCN AMD GPUs I want to run. It's not quite finished. I'm just starting to realize there's a couple GPUs missing from it. But yeah, I want to run all... Like, there's all the different GCN cards I want to run with this. Once I'm done with that, we're going to run a bunch of NVIDIA cards. Once I'm done with those, we're going to run my really old AMD cards, and then I'll be finished with all of my 3D benchmarking, and it'll be amazing. For once, I will have, like, because the thing is, like, one thing that really annoys me with my massive stacks of GPUs is I don't use them. And that really annoys me, because it feels like I'm the kind of, like, because you hear about the car collectors who have, like, 200 cars, and they can't possibly actually drive 200 freaking cars because you've got 200 damn cars. Like, how are you going to drive them all? So yeah, I kind of feel like I'm in the same situation with the GPUs. So it's like I have a bunch of GPUs. They're all very cool. A lot of them are like, you know, pretty nice custom PCBs and that kind of thing. And then I never run them. And I feel kind of bad about that. So it's like, yes, I will finally go through my entire GPU collection and actually run them all. Why didn't the score change? This better validate. I'm going to check that this actually validates. TS. Save. Why don't you mine Bitcoin or something? Because that... well, all the GPUs I have are pretty old, so they're not actually that great at mining. I guess I could run them for, like, folding at home or something. But the thing is, I also don't have the space to set them up for that, and then it's like, you need power supplies and stuff at that point. Which is like, yeah, how about no? Gonna check that this score actually works, because I'm not sure. Like, technically I shouldn't be able to run it without like, it's not legal to run it without tessellation, so I want to check that. Are you kidding me? They changed system info versions? Dude, what the hell? What version am I on? I'm on version 5.3.5. When did this come out? Ah. I went through all this effort to, like, prepare all my little benchmark tools and everything, so it'll finally all be up to date, which is one of the most annoying parts of benchmarking for me, is, like, making sure all the software is legal and good to go. It's like, and then it's like, oh no, there's a new system info version. Apparently the current one is still fine though, so, like, the score validated, so I'm gonna assume that that means it's fine, right? But yeah, anyway, I guess I gotta get the new system info. Wait, I already downloaded that. Why didn't the installer come with it? That's so stupid. Yeah, I need to install that. Anyway, so this core is fine. I think it's fine, at least. Hopefully it's fine. Man. Why does the software need updates? Especially when you're benching ancient freaking GPUs. It's like, why do I need updates? Benchmarks get more updates than the GPU drivers. Which makes sense. Much easier to support that, but... Go. Okay, so I'll call that one done. I'll install the new system info just in case. Also, I'm not sure how, like, Vantage will handle it otherwise. Accept. Okay. Okay, and now we should be able to just run 3D Mark Vantage, which is gonna be... And what's cool is they added Vantage Extreme as a preset. So that's pretty neat. It's not just regular Vantage performance, which is like super CPU bottlenecked. It's also going to be Vantage Extreme, which is much less CPU bottleneck. Even though it looks horrible. There's not much of a graphical difference. I think it just gets rendered at a higher resolution. Look about the same. Have you ever got a DMCA or copyright flag from your own music? Not yet. Yeah, I'm gonna have to... The thing is, I've only started playing the music relatively recently on streams, so... I'll have to sort of figure some stuff around that out, I guess. So that can't be an issue. The thing is, the streams are unlisted, so... Yeah, like, I don't have it in the music. Like, I don't have it in videos. Does a good memo C-Mobo like the B5 Unify X achieve lower timings too, or just higher frequency? It is mostly just the memory frequency, from what I've noticed. Like, I've not noticed a massive, like, timing improvement. It's mostly just, like, it clocks the same... Like, the same memory sticks will go, like, 300 megahertz higher on the Unify than on any other motherboard I've tried. Okay, not 300, more like 200. Like 200 to 150 to 200 more. It's also much easier to work with than some of the other motherboards I have. Man, I can't wait to see the Vantage CPU score. It's gonna be so freaking high. Also, three-way should be fun on this setup. I might beat my old three-way record. Because my previous three-way record was 7940X. Actually, no, I'd have to pull the Fury X's out for that, I think. Depends how GPU bottleneck... And depends how CPU bottleneck the last time I ran this was. Four-way 290X's should certainly be able to max out Vantage. So that'll be interesting. Oh, this one's good. Do you think Unify X is overkill for a 5600X? Yes. Very, very overkill. For a 5600X, you could easily go with a sub $200 board and you'd be completely fine. Oh man, I think the music's really loud on stream right now. I actually had the Unigine Heaven three-way record for a while. Oh my god, 20,000 operations. Oh man. Like seeing Vantage's like the CPU test running like this is just something that does, like, no other platform does that. No other platform. It's great. Actually, no, I think 7980XE does this. Yeah, so there's one other CPU, like the 18-core Intels, and I guess the 16-core Intels as well, but yeah. It's just great to see such ridiculous CPU tests operations per second. What? Oh, right, because the... give it a second, the capture card's freaking out. No. 87,000. I don't know if that's good. 120k CPU score. I love how you... Like, with the freaking 5950X, you don't even have to try. You just have to disable SMT and run some halfway decent quad rank memory settings, and it just spits out scores like no tomorrow. So, what's the previous Vantage record? 66k. Yeah, I just completely obliterated that. I'm getting roughly the same GPU score. But, yeah, there's no comparison when it comes to the CPU department. Actually, I wonder how this compares, like, for two-way GPUs global. That's actually pretty high, like, overall as a two-way score. Like, 80,000 points is a lot of points. The benchmark's admittedly super old. Oh man, this is crazy close to my old Fiji score. My Radeon Pro Duo got 88,338. This is getting 87,000. This is like 1,000 points below my previous best. Which my previous best isn't particularly like... Yeah, it's... Wait, I'm third for the Pro Duo? Oh man, I need to redo that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be redoing that. That's on the list of things that are getting redone. Yeah, because the Pro Duo was... I don't even know what CPU I ran it with. What did I run it with? I ran it with a 9900K! What a noob! It's like, oh, my CPU my score's low. Yeah, because your CPU's literally scoring lower than the GPU. If you're running Vantage and your GPU score is lower than your CPU score, Either your GPU is crazy fast or your CPU is inadequate. And in my case, it was very much CPU is inadequate because that GPU is old. Pro Duo is old and not that fast. So yeah, anyway, this is a nice score. I need to save this again. Like, the thing is, I need to upload all of these so that they can get validated as being, like, not broken timers. So 390x2 van. I'm just gonna call it van. Save. Cool, and now we're gonna do the GPU-Z, CPU-Z tiling. Actually. Oops. There we go. So that's Vantage, Firestrike Extreme, 3D Mark 11 done. And Time Spy done as well, right? Because, yeah, I have 3D 11, Van, FSE, FS, and Time Spy. We're not running TSU, Firestrike Ultra, because I'm going to lose it, and it doesn't really matter that much if I'm going to lose it. So, what card do you guys want next? 290X or 390X? 290X is worth more points, just gonna point that out. Oh man, this thing's gonna spit out such a massive Vantage score when I stick that 290. Regardless of what I stick into this next, it's gonna produce a ridiculous Vantage score. I can't wait to see it. 290X. No, we're not doing just 290Xs, we're just gonna add an extra 290X to this. I kinda wanna do the 390X. Everybody wants the 290X. No, we're not doing Fury X's. It has to be something that goes with this card. Like, on one hand, 290X would produce way more points. On the other hand, 390X is kind of more, like, balanced, in a way. $290X first, then... No, the thing is, I want to go from, like, easy to hard, whereas 290X is actually going to kind of be a... Especially because I can't even... Like, this thing doesn't clock that high. And I do technically have the option to run, like... Well, actually, I kind of have that option regardless. I'm going to do the 390X. I don't care about your opinion. Though I am going to save all the scores and screenshots right now. For this first set, yeah. Wait, I already have a results folder, don't I? Yes, I do. So we can just kill this, because I don't even know what that is anymore. I'm gonna throw all of this in here. I said delete! So hard about that. Try again, you stupid pile of trash. What do you mean? Skip it then. Do this for all of them. You useless pile of trash operating system. There we go. Those are all saved. Now we add the 390X. So, this 390X right here is not actually, like, you'll notice this is a 290X cooler for an XFX card. And this is not even an XFX 390X. This is actually an MSI 390X that doesn't have a VRM heatsink, so there's, like, heatsink, like, there's some other heatsink being held on by this wire over here. And it has cap mods. Coil winds, apparently. Works at 1045, 1525. How old is that? I'm pretty sure this thing overclocks quite well. So those scribbles must be freaking ancient. And I never updated them, which is kind of dumb. Anyway, we'll see what it does. It's not like the 39, like the 390 can't go that fast anyway, so I don't think we're going to be limited by the 390X at all. Because this thing kind of sucks already. Now, wire is better than zip ties because the wire is reusable, whereas zip ties are a pain to reuse. It's one of those cards. See how quickly it picks up on the third card. Also, I don't know if that thing works. It's been in storage for a while. Right, enabled 2 GPUs. Only sees 2. Why does it only see 2? Does not see the third one. I wonder if there's some dodgy BIOS on this card that makes it hard to detect. Or even straight up not possible to detect on UEFI mode. It would be a very me thing. Accept? Oh wait, no, that's just overdrive. Go away, off. Now it still only sees 2 GPUs. Why does it only see 2 GPUs? The Adventures of Crossfire. Yeah, indeed. The Crossfire Adventures. I have 3 cards, but 2 of them, like, only 2 show up. I wonder if the motherboard detects them all. And does this motherboard even have that? I don't think it sees the second GPU. Empty, of course. So the motherboard thinks that's empty. Okay, motherboard, we got a problem here, motherboard. Got a problem. I wonder if that's it. Like, the board should do that on its own, but I wonder if that's it. No, it still does not see that second GPU. What the hell? Okay, we're gonna have to check if that second GPU even, like, works on its own. I just used the mouse and the BIOS. It felt horrible. I assure you, that was very unpleasant. Yeah, no, the GPU's fine. It works. I have a sneaking suspicion this GPU is not UEFI compatible. It's probably my fault. Can you do 4-way crossfire with 3 cards? Yes. Actually, I can do 4-way crossfire with just 290Xs if I wanted to. And I do kind of want to do that. The main issue is getting them all attached to the same motherboard. I don't think I have enough PCIe... I don't have enough PCIe risers for that. It might take a while before I get to that. Okay, so we need to check that this thing works, and then we need to put the 390X to it back in. Honestly, this live stream was 3.5 hours at this point. I kind of feel like I might leave the dual, like, 2 GPUs configuration for next stream. Admittedly, though, at this rate, it'll take me forever to get through all the GPUs if I spend 3 hours on every single setup. Oh, boy. Oh, well, we'll have content for like 1.5 years at this rate. Gonna release a new CPU and I'll have to start all over again before I finish this. Okay, let's just run some Firestrike just to make sure, like, all I really need is that it runs at stock. You have enough power supplies? Yeah, I have enough power supplies. I've run 4-way setups before. That's not the issue. That's not an issue. I run Firestrike Extreme because it's heavier. Buildzoid as a VTuber when? Never, probably. The Buildzoid phase cam might make a return once I move into a new place. Man, this is so slow compared to running 2 cards. No idea why people didn't like Crossfire. I actually know fully. I tried to run Crossfire in my daily. It, like, never. For most of the games I played, running Crossfire was worse than stock. Like, was worse than single GPU. So, yeah. Yeah, this thing works great. The only issue now is like getting both of the cards to cooperate and see each other and talk to each other. You think about audio chips? No. Because the main issue with the audio chips is I don't know enough about the audio, like motherboard audio sections to want to talk about, like to be confident in saying anything about them. And also, like, I've heard of certain scenarios where you'd have like a perfectly good audio chip, but there'd be like an isolation issue on the board. So it like literally didn't matter at all what audio chip it had at that point because it was just like, yeah, there's EMI leaking into the audio circuitry from like a power delivery system nearby. It's like, yep, that's a great way of doing things. Okay, so this thing runs just fine. Let's add the other card back in. Hey guys, do you remember why I always complain about power buttons located on the bottom edge of the motherboard? And like postcodes on the bottom edge of the motherboard? Yeah, I wonder how I'm gonna press that now. Thanks, MSI. Seriously, build a benchmarking motherboard and like, and this isn't even a quad slot card. It's a 3-slotter. No, it's not because you can't see anything. It's because you literally can't press the bloody power button if the board is in the, like, if you put 2 GPUs in. And one of them is kind of, actually, if both of the GPUs are 3 slots, yeah, you're not getting at anything. There we go. Managed to squeeze my finger under the card. Let's see if it detects it. You know what would be really stupid if this board didn't have working, if the PCIe slots all didn't work? Like, maybe the second PCIe slot just doesn't work. Well, Windows crashing on startup makes me think the AMD drivers noticed something, so that's a good sign. On the other hand, Windows is crashing, and that's bad. Also, damn, that 390 gets hot. It's not even doing anything and it gets hot. Okay, this time we got into the operating system, so... What? Why are we on Radeon Pro? AMD? Did the driver implode? Please don't tell me the driver already imploded. Why are they both at 1100? Oh no. Oh no. Well, looks like I'm gonna have to let's see if just reinstalling the drivers fixes it. Though I actually don't know if the motherboard even sees the second GPU yet, so I guess we better go figure that out. I think you just broke your... Nah, I didn't break anything. Okay, board. Do you see... Okay, now it sees both of the GPUs. We've finally got some freaking progress over here. Yay! So I think I just need to reinstall the drivers. Yeah, they haven't decided to start working yet, so... Where's DDU? There's no DDU on this OS. Why is there no DDU? No, we don't need safe mode. Okay, 1610. Actually, wait, I already installed that, so we're gonna have the installer in here. Yep, that's Crossfire, all right. Okay, you know what? I think we'll end the stream here for today. And I'll figure out on my own time how to get this thing to bloody run, and then we'll do another live stream once it actually works, because it's pretty late. And also I've been streaming for almost 4 hours, so yeah. Thanks for watching, I guess. Like, share, subscribe, leave any. Actually, don't. It's not going to be not going to be able to leave any comments because the video will be unlisted. But yeah, that's it for today's stream. Got some good scores for the 390X2. Unfortunately, it looks like AMD drivers are being AMD drivers. I really hope it's not also like an X570 thing. Like, there's maybe a small chance that it also has something to do with Ryzen, but and in which case, like, I'm gonna have to do this on X299, I guess. But yeah, hopefully I figure out why this isn't working. So, anyway, yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and